welcome to the Be Fairy Afraid podcast, the podcast where we take the fairy tales you know and love and go, no thank you, and chuck them in the bin and replace them with the original fairy tales as they were dark and horrifically written. I'm Louise Atkinson.
And I'm Fiona Ridgewell. And this week we're talking about my trip to Bordeaux, where, surprise, I learned absolutely nothing.
Shocker.
Louise goes to a photo shoot and has an incident with lube.
Thanks for that.
Use your imaginations. And we talk about The King Who Would Marry a Beautiful Wife by Andrew Lang. And in the words of Jean-Baptiste Basile,
shut your mouths, open your ears, and hear what I shall tell you.
Friends on a quest, putting these fairy tales to the test, talking all things magical, mystical, but sometimes not very sophistical. Be very afraid, someone actually wrote this story down. Be very afraid, why are all the women wearing massive gowns? Why is he kissing her without her consent? What on earth is going on? Will they figure it out what this story's all about? Oh, be very afraid.
Good day, Fiona.
well, that was very formal.
I know. I felt very formal. I'm having a very formal day.
It felt like you was maybe going to say good morrow or something.
Good morrow, dear woman.
I don't even know what that means, but it felt like a good morrow was coming.
I think we should bring good morrow back.
Oh, here it is. Another word to bring back. Do you know what? I've got too many words.
That's your problem, is it? Just too many words?
Too many words. I've said before.
Are you about to go on a rant about how we've got too many fucking words? Is that what's going to happen here?
You know, before I've said about knowledge, and there's been a few things that I've said on this podcast, and I thought, you know what, you could maybe do with a bit more knowledge, Fiona. I went to Bordeaux at the weekend.
Ooh,
I know, high flyer. I went to a wine museum.
If you're going to go to Bordeaux, it's pretty much what you.
Yeah, but I don't drink wine, do I?
Fuck's sake.
Anyway, that isn't my point. My point is, I was in there for 2 hours, and they had this phone thing, and you scan it on the exhibitions, and then it talks into your brain, directly into your head, basically telling you information.
An audio assistant.
Thank you. And literally, I said to my boyfriend, he went, "So what have you learned?" I don't know why I did that. I was on a school trip. "So what have you learned?" And literally, the information was going in and immediately going back out. I don't know. I can tell you nothing more about wine today than I could on Friday. Where has that information gone? That washed
out
over
the other
me.
ear. By the
Yeah, but
sounds of
it literally that I thought that was a saying. It literally went in and out. It didn't stop.
So you didn't even learn about the different banks and all the different.
I don't know what that word means. I don't know what the word banks means. I saw a nice.
So you didn't learn about Margot or Pauillac or Santa Emilion or anything like that. You just literally went.
I don't even recall hearing any of those words. I don't know what they mean.
So what were you doing? You just wandered
was-
around gormless.
No, but I was listening, and that really worried me.
This is what I think happens on this podcast, though. That the minute you leave, it just falls out your head.
Yeah, I did think that, and I was actually a bit upset about that because you bring quite a wealth of knowledge.
Ooh, she's been diplomatic today.
A wealth of knowledge to this podcast, and I'd love to then go into other conversations, be able to be like, wow, I don't know any of it still. And that's not even me being rude. I'm sitting here and I'm enjoying it.
Right.
And then immediately my brain is going, we just don't think you'll use that in the sort of conversations you're having. Get rid.
Right.
So.
And you are gonna fill it up with shit about the moon and horoscopes.
Yeah.
That's more important than language.
Well, it isn't. But obviously my brain prioritises wrong because that does stay in there.
Right.
If someone goes to me, my birthday's 10th of October, I'm like, you're a Libra. I can do that immediately, and then I know some stuff about them. Right?
No, but you fucking don't know stuff about them.
But I do.
Right, okay.
But wine, just nothing in there. Just nothing.
I mean, if Matt wants to go again, I'll go on a lads trip with him because I would love that.
I think you've overestimated Matthew. He is not a lads trip sort of
I know
guy.
he's going on a trip to Bordeaux, but that's what I'm saying. We'll go on Bordeaux together.
And he will say at the end of the lads' holiday, and what have you learnt, Louise? What have you learnt?
I'm like, well, actually, Matthew, I preferred a PowerPoint, and there's questions for you at the end. Strap in. This is a two-way street, sweetheart.
That would be horrific.
Did you do anything else in Bordeaux?
Well, I queued for 90 minutes for a steak restaurant, which I later found out is also in London. Basically, I queued for Café Rouge.
You stupid tit.
No, it wasn't actually Café Rouge. It's called L'Entrecôte. Yeah, thank you. Didn't learn any French either. In fact, at one point I said gracias, and he went, I just can't. I just cannot. He was like, how have you got one word and it's the wrong country? It was L'Entrecôte. And it's this steak restaurant where you can't book and you queue up outside and then you go in, they only serve steak, but they only serve like a walnut salad to start.
Yeah, good salad, good choice.
It was actually quite nice because the thing is I have a walnut whip and I take the walnut off, but actually in a salad, yes please.
So you've learnt that nuts can be used in different ways.
Yeah, I learnt that.
We're learning a lot this weekend. So some knowledge has stayed in. This is good.
I'm still more inclined to have a whip than a walnut whip. Anyway.
Right.
And then, just one steak. They're like, how do you want it cooked?
Good questions for a steak restaurant.
Medium.
They're doing well so far.
Medium. Yeah. Unlimited chips.
This sounds incredible.
And a butter sauce. But we waited for 90 minutes.
I'd wait 9 minutes for that.
We did have a nice time. We had a
Your
nice...
face is telling me otherwise.
Well, we had to sort of do it because when we first got there, we had a walk to walk. And I just said, you can't.
In Bordeaux?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, and I was disappointed in him, actually.
Not to be rude, it's people like you that are giving us a bad reputation abroad.
It really is, actually. Yeah.
You went to Bordeaux and had a walk to walk.
Had a walk to walk. And then we had something called Backyard, which was basically their TGI Friday. So we really failed on the first day. So I said, Saturday we're going proper French.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that was your Bordeaux experience. Attempting to learn about wine, failing.
Oh.
A walk to walk, and then we're going super French. Massive steak.
And
which, to be fair, is very good to go with a Bordeaux wine, by the way.
I had a Coca-Cola.
Oh.
Do you know what? The thing is, Louise, I don't care what you think. I know who I am. Because I've dealt with these expressions all weekend. I grimace when I drink red wine. It doesn't matter what bank it's from.
One of the best things about wine is doing it with matching it with food.
But that's like, if you don't like it.
No, but like it changes like the texture of the food and the wine, and it all blends together. And it's like having different flavours together on a plate and mixing them together, and they just harmonise together. Like, do you know one of the best food and wine combinations ever? Fact this is champagne and fish and chips.
No, I didn't know that.
And you're probably going to forget it the minute you leave out this door. But at least I've told you.
But also, you don't get much champagne in fish and chip shops, do you?
Although they are usually next to an offie, to be fair.
They are. But also, I mean, I don't really like champagne either. And when I drink Prosecco, I think I've told you before, it makes my eyes swell up. So that's still a thing. I found that out the weekend. So yeah, just Coca-Cola and steak for me, really. Right. What else was I painted today?
Today?
Yeah.
What were you painting? More sketches for your insurance claim?
That hasn't gone through yet. It's still a subject. The front room.
You're going all out, moving in decoration wise.
Yeah, yeah.
On for?
Green. It's nice.
Yeah, but what green? Like, it's got a fancy name. It's never green on the Dulux colour chart. It's always like, trees in depth of winter green. Like,
it's not the Dulux colour chart, actually. It's something
you got from like B&M Bargains.
No, what's it called? It's a stupidly expensive.
Oh, not the Farrow and Ball.
Yeah, what a prick.
Nah.
Yeah. Well, actually, do you know what? I'm being a bit thingy there. It wasn't Farrow and Ball. It was Farrow and Ball, and he was like, "We're getting Farrow and Ball." I was like, "You're an idiot." So then you can go to B&Q and you can give them the colour that you want. I don't think it's a secret, and they'll match it, and it's a bit cheaper, but it's good quality.
Because I thought, doesn't sound like the maths I've been taught about, but no, that one is.
No, but he is. We do fall out because he is funny about some things where he will spend ridiculous money on like.
Oh really?
Yeah, on just random things, and paint is one of them. But I managed to
quell that.
Yeah. But do you know what I'll say? I sound like a wanker. We went to Bordeaux. We had a nice time.
Mm.
I think when you're in love with someone, it's just as nice painting the front room. I had a lovely time. It was really nice.
So
Yeah.
we went.
After that 40 minutes, how was your weekend?
It's fine. I had a little photo shoot I had to do.
Oh,
Here she is.
sexy.
Glam. Yeah, it was like these people, and they were doing like new up and coming faces of comedy bollocks.
Ooh.
And they took like they did some pictures of us all. But I did have a bit of a embarrassing moment because whenever I've gone to photo shoot things before, they said, "Do you want like a makeup artist and a hairstylist and all this, that, and the other?" And I always say, What's wrong with your face now?
Sorry, why are you getting offered all these photo shoots?
All of them. One. And the other ones I've paid for.
Oh, okay, right.
Because,
okay.
like, I don't know if you know this, maybe this is, a problem in your career, but we have to have, like, headshots and shit done.
We do, but no one's ever said, and will you want...
You just FaceTiming people.
Would you want a makeup artist and hairdresser? No,
haven't you ever had a makeup artist?
I just do it myself, which is probably why my headshots are always a bit shit, to be honest.
That's not true. You always look very lovely in your headshot.
No, I went to Thailand in April. I showed the people my headshots. They went, why'd you look so old in those photos? Oh, shit.
What?
Well, someone took those photos, but it was my face. It wasn't the photographer, it was my face.
Hang on, sorry, can we just backtrack there? You went to Thailand and showing these pictures? Like, are you just going around people like your family photo album? Like, do you want to see these? Like, people
No.
like, who's that woman who just keeps showing us random headshots of herself?
You know when people are like, oh, can I add you on Instagram? Followed me on Instagram in front of my face and then went, God, what? You look really old. And I just thought, who does that? And who says that? Like, think it. Don't say in my face, you look so old.
Anyway, so I went to the photo shoot and I got offered a makeup artist and a hairstylist. And whenever I do that, I say yes to the makeup artist.
Oh.
But I always say I'll actually do my own hair because I have naturally curly hair. And hairstylists don't always know how to deal with naturally curly hair.
Fair.
Like some of them do, some of them don't. So I always say I'll do it myself. So I always bring my own products and crack on myself. Interesting little factoid for you. One of the best products you can use for naturally curly hair on refresh days is curly hair. You don't wash your hair that often. You just have refresh days.
Really?
Yeah, I only wash my hair like twice a week max.
Oh, right.
Help preserve the curls and all that.
Oh,
shit.
lovely.
And it also takes, because wash days take forever.
Oh, right.
Sunday afternoons is me doing my hair, and I mean afternoons.
Is that why when we started this podcast, I said, what about Sundays? You went, Sundays are
Pretty
out.
much, yeah.
Oh, wow. What a way to
Babe,
find
this
that
is a
out.
lot of upkeep.
8
yeah.
episodes in.
One of the best products you can use for refresh days for curly hair is, and this isn't a wind-up, water-based lube. When I first got told this, I was like, someone's winding me up here. But it's a thing. It's really good for helping calm frizz and for helping combine with other products to do hold and to give a shine and stuff like that. It's absolutely banging. Don't do what I did though when I first started using it, which is get like a scented one, because then you go around smelling like a really shit Weatherspoons Haribo and it's just not a nice...
Or you go around smelling like lube.
Yeah, but nobody's going to know. It just smells like a weird strawberry, are they? Nobody's specifically going to be like, oh, that's that Durex strawberry lube. And if they do, they're a fucking weirdo. That's a them
They're
problem.
a pervert. Stop sniffing my hair.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many elements to that.
So you're just whacking a load of lube in that?
No, it's like different stuff, but it's like made for the frizz and stuff like that. What
So
now?
when I said to you last week, you smell like a vape, it was lube.
No, it was an array of products. To be honest, what I think you smelled last week was actually my body spray.
That was lube.
No, because the lube is unscented.
Lubey loo, that's what I'm going to call you.
You fucking do, and I'll twat you in the face. That's what I'm saying. Get unscented lube. So I was having my unscented lube.
Oh, yes. I forgot there was a point to the lube story. Go on.
My bag. So I was like to the photo people, I was like, right, I'm just going to head out. Where's the nearest shop? And they were like, oh, it's just down the road. This guy, who's like a little intern guy, who was very young, will show you.
No.
Yeah. He also needs to pick up some bits as well. And we had to go around. And yeah, so I picked up a bottle of lube and he had to pick up like some food bits and bobs and a pack of Red Bull. And we went to the cashier to pay it together. And all this woman is seeing is me, a 30-something-year-old woman, with this 19-year-old boy buying a bottle of lube, a 4-pack of Red Bull and some crisps. And she must be, there's two things she must have thought in that situation. Number one, this woman is the shittest cougar I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah.
Or number 2, because it would have been plausible, she is a very overly involved mother.
But
It was just awful.
Well, yeah, but also I like the way your mind goes. You're like, oh, what must the shop assistant thought of me? What did the young 19-year-old think of a woman who, sorry, hold on a minute, he probably doesn't have that background knowledge of curly hair. Someone went, photos taken, oh my God, I must rush to the shop. He'll go with you, and you just go and pick up lube. And he's like, what did she possibly need lube for immediately when she's having a photo done?
Plug your jugs, Poirot, and let me fill in some of the clues there. Because obviously, I didn't just go randomly to the photo people. Terribly so, I just have to pop up to buy some lube. I explained. I was like, usually the makeup artist will also be the hairstylist and they'll have products. Because I said, oh, one of my products is missing. And I was like, what is it? I'm like, you're going to laugh about this. Blah, blah, blah. So he knew what he was coming with me for.
Okay, fine.
It wasn't
fine.
just thrust upon him, no pun intended. But like, it was just, that was my experience. But I sent you the photos.
They were beautiful,
came out
yeah.
well. Can't take pictures. I'm awful. Really stiff. I just can't.
Oh, so do I.
And the other bit I had was as well,
Ugh.
and this was really awkward, is they take some test shots to get the lighting right and everything before they kick off. And whilst he was doing that, I was speaking to the makeup artist, and I'd basically got a weird bra on. I was having to adjust my boobs, basically. And I was like, oh, I don't think they're sitting well. And then the guy, having taken a test shot and looking at the test screen, went, I think they look great. And I thought you meant my tits. I was like, oh, thank you. And I was like, oh, God, no, sorry. You mean the test shots. Terribly sorry.
No,
Go.
I'm sorry. It doesn't matter if you've explained it. You have met some strangers and within a few minutes gone, I just need to get some lube. Thanks, my tits are great.
I mean, to be fair, they are. Like, but that's not
But
the
that's
point.
a lot for sort of 7 minutes into a conversation. Bloody journey we've been on.
Do you want to know what story we're doing this week?
Yeah, please.
So, little bit of an explanation. So, strap in. Actually doing one this week that's from the Andrew Lang Pink Fairy Tale book.
Okay.
So Andrew Lang, very, very famous writer, and particularly famous for his Rainbow Fairy Tale collection. So he's a Scottish writer, brilliant writer as well. He's a poet. He studied a lot of anthropology. He did a huge, I think it was 4 volumes actually, of Scottish history, really got into that.
Okay.
And he started, well, the first fairy tale book he did was the Blue Fairy Tale book, which is his most famous one. It was the first one he did. Hasn't written any, he just collected them from all over the world and put them together in these books. And it's really, really interesting because he's a very, very famous writer and he's most famous for these fairy tales. However, these fairy tales are probably one of the only things he didn't really write. It was his wife and a team of female writers. So I'm going to say the Langs wrote this book. And to be fair to him, he actually credits her
Well, yeah, good.
in the lilac fairy, because they're all different colours. So in the lilac fairy book.
Yeah, I started to get that.
Yeah, I just, well, you got to check with you. Do you know what I mean? In that one, it said, the fairy books have been almost wholly the work of Mrs. Lang, who has translated and worked them from French, German, Portuguese, Italian and other languages.
Okay, so she didn't really write them either. She just
That, because that's what all fairy tales and everything is. The sharing of them and the translating of them and all this, that and the other. So she's done a lot of it. She also edited quite a lot of his work and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, she worked with like a team of female writers. Some of them were like actually part of the suffragette movement and stuff like that. And they all worked together to do this and the other. So they've compiled, the Langs, as I'm going to address them, have compiled these books. And the one we're doing is a Sicilian fairy tale. It was a woman called Laura Gonzenbach.
Right.
And she was of Swiss German origin. She could speak a load of languages, and she came to Sicily. And because Sicily has a specific dialect, she learnt that as well, and then went around talking to loads of people about getting the original fairy tales and compiled 2 volumes of Sicilian folk tales, which helped preserve them. Okay.
Langy Langtons. Langy Lang. Sorry.
What are you? Have you had a Red Bull or something?
I did actually have a Red Bull. It does make a considerable difference to my personality, a Red Bull.
Good God.
Yeah, I had one in the car. Anyway.
So this story is called The King Who Would Have a Beautiful Wife.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah? You ready for this?
Yes, please.
Off we go. Right. There's quite a few voices in this.
Oh, excellent.
We can do an Italian accent. Well, I can't do an Italian accent, but I'm not going to be cancelled if I do one, am I?
No, and also you could just pretend it was a Sicilian one if it doesn't work out.
Yeah, it's different from regular Italian. Off we go. 50 years ago, there lived a king who was very anxious to get married, but as he was quite determined that his wife should be as beautiful as the sun, the thing was not so easy as it seemed, for no maiden came up to his standard.
Already got something to say.
Oh, here she goes, yeah.
I won't interject too much. However,
yeah, usually you keep everything to yourself, yeah.
anxiety.
Over getting married, yeah.
Yeah. But don't you feel like everyone says, oh, that's a bloody new thing? When was this written?
Well, these would have been compiled in sort of the early 20th century, so
Yes.
19th, 20th century.
Oh, right. So recent-ish, though.
Yeah, but do you know what? Yes, I do think anxiety has been around for many moons.
But everyone goes, oh, you're anxious. Oh, it's a new thing, that, isn't it? Oh, everyone's got it.
Do you think that's
You
to
got
you?
it. I mean, that might just be my mum.
Yeah. The rest of us are fine. Actually, we're not getting it that much.
Okay, fine. So he's anxious that he might not meet someone, but also ridiculous high standards.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Every man I've ever met. Carry on, sorry.
You got so sassy with your Red Bull. Then he commanded a trusty servant to search through the length and breadth of the land till he found a girl fair enough to be queen. And if he had the good luck to discover one, he was to bring her back with him immediately. So he's sending out this servant going, you're in charge of finding the most beautiful woman in the land. Because I can't be arsed, apparently.
Yeah, but what is it? Another one man's...
Band?
No. One man's meat is another man's not meat. I don't know.
That isn't a phrase!
What's
That's something you picked up on that menu at that steak restaurant. It's a load of lies.
Basically, I wouldn't send you out to find me a man. No offence.
Rude.
I wouldn't send you out to find me a man because we've just got different types. Like, beauty is subjective. You might bring me back a right munter, but in your eyes, he's an absolute worldie. Like, if you want to meet someone nice, put the work in.
The servant set out at once on his journey and sought high and low in castles and cottages. But though pretty maidens were plentiful as blackberries, he felt sure that none of them would please the king. So there's actually loads of babes rocking about, but this servant's like, yeah, but you're not the prettiest one though, are you?
And also, what I just said, he's like, yeah, there's loads of nice ones, but would he like it?
Also, nobody's speaking to him. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, just have a word with one of them. Just say hi.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe don't linger at them from a distance and glare at them going, I don't think you're pretty enough, and then leave. That's weird.
They might have really good personalities.
Exactly.
In fact, probably most of them do.
One day he had wandered far and wide and was feeling very tired and thirsty. By the roadside stood a tiny little house, and here he knocked and asked for a cup of water. Now, in this house dwelt two sisters. One was 80 and the other 90 years old. They were very poor and earned their living by spinning. You with me so far?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, your face says otherwise.
I just imagine they've got a granddaughter because he's not bringing one of them back, is he?
Oh, that's your prediction.
Oh, bloody hell, I hope so.
Okay. They earned their living by spinning. This had kept their hands very soft and white, like the hands of a girl, and when the water was passed through the lattice and the servant saw the small, delicate fingers, he said to himself, I think I'm going to give him a bad Italian accent.
Yeah, I mean, aim for a good one.
I can't. I think you should just stay alert, because the problem is the only Italian the two Italians I can think of, both of them are going to be offensive. The first one is obviously Mario. It's me, Mario. Or the other one, equally as offensive, Gino
Luigi.
DeCampo.
Oh, sorry.
No, not Luigi. I was going for Gino DeCampo.
Yeah, do him.
Like, the only thing I can think of him is when he just, which is very famous now in England, is
The
when
ham.
yeah,
The bike.
Yeah, where he's like, and if my grandmother had a wheel, should there have been a bike?
I love that. Do that one.
Okay, let's see. So the water's been passed through the lattice, and the servant has seen their small, delicate hands. A maid that must indeed be lovely if she has a hand like that.
Yeah.
It's awful, and I'm going to get cancelled. But we're
Well,
going
I
to
didn't
move
know
on.
Gino DeCampo was actually related to Mario, but
So he said that, and then he said, and he made haste, and he went back to tell the king.
what?
So he's seen
an old lady's hand.
But that looks like a young girl's hand, because they have young hands apparently from
'Cause
spinning.
spinning, yeah.
And he's been like, they are the most beautiful hands, therefore that must be the most beautiful woman. I'm going to go tell the king.
We've had ones like this before with the feet.
Oh, I'm going to tell you
Remember
this.
they looked at the feet.
And the ending of this is fucking mental.
Is it foot orientated?
No, because I wouldn't be doing one of them again. But it's just so random. Go back at once, said His Majesty, and try to get sight of her. The faithful servant departed on his errand without losing any time, and again he knocked at the door of the little house and begged for some water. Also, he was travelling the length and breadth of the kingdom, and it was taking him days and God knows how long, but now he's just tootled back. So the house must be quite close to the palace, so why didn't you just fucking start there?
Yeah, but maybe he did a loop.
As before, the old woman did not open the door, but passed the water through the lattice. Do you live here alone? Asked the man. I'm so sorry, Italian. I'm so sorry. So I've got an old woman voice now. All right.
Can she be Italian too?
Nope. There's only so much I can do.
No,
Replied she.
my sister lives here with me. We are poor girls and have to work for our bread.
How old are you?
I am 15 and she is 20.
What?
Yep. So she's lying out of her ass.
Well, yeah.
Right. The servant went back to the king and told him all he knew, and His Majesty answered, I will have the 15-year-old one. Go and bring her to me.
Do you know what? I thought she was a bad woman, but I'm on her side now because he.
Is gross.
Also, do we even know how old this king is?
No.
That's not important, is it, Ben's age?
Yeah, exactly. He can just
Right.
crack on with any
Yeah,
15-year-old. Could be
fine.
97. We
yeah,
don't know.
cool.
The servant returned a third time to the little house and knocked at the door. In reply to his knock, the lattice window was pushed open and a voice inquired what it was he wanted. The king has desired me to bring you back the youngest of you to become his queen, he replied.
Tell His Majesty I'm ready to do his bidding, but since birth no ray of light has fallen upon my face. If it should ever do so, I shall instantly grow black. Therefore, beg, I pray you, His most gracious Majesty, send a carriage, and I will return to it this evening.
She's gone very the queen, hasn't she?
Yes, yeah. Well, she's getting ready
this
for it.
evening. No, I mean her voice.
No, that's what I'm saying. She's tying herself
Oh
up.
right. Yeah.
So she said, I can't let you see me because no light has touched me since birth. And if it ever does, I will immediately just turn completely
To like dust.
black dust. Yeah. Therefore, you have to send me a carriage at night and take me to the castle in Nath. When the king heard this, he ordered his great golden carriage to be prepared, and in it to be placed some magnificent robes, and the old woman wrapped herself in a thick veil and was driven to the castle. The king was eagerly awaiting her, and when she arrived, he begged her politely to raise her veil and let him see her face. But she answered,
But here the tapers are too bright and the light too strong. Would you have me turn black under your very eyes?
so she's saying, I can't reveal myself, there's still too much light in the room.
This is like fairy tale catfish, isn't it? I know people get done by that and stung by it, but come on.
The king believed her words, and the marriage took place without the veil being once lifted.
Oh, what a mug.
Afterwards, when they were alone, he raised the corner and knew for the first time that he had wedded a wrinkled old woman. So they've got to the wedding night. He's lifted up a little peak and he's gone, oh my Christ, this is a wrinkly old woman.
If I don't get married soon, that will be my wedding day.
In a furious burst of anger, he dashed open the window and flung her out of it. Luckily for her, her clothes caught on a nail in the wall and kept her hanging between heaven and earth. There is actually, because the thing is there's actually a pitch, because the reason Andrew Lang's books, or the Lang's books, did so well is they had illustrations in which were nice pictures.
Oh,
And there
nice.
is a picture of where she was hanging by the nail. I would have thought for that to work, it would have to be like the collar.
Oh, it's near the bottom, is it?
Yeah, like we can post this on the Instagram page. But look at that. It's by like, she would have just fallen straight out of that. It's just by her knee.
Oh, God, yeah. Or she'd at least be at more of an angle.
Yeah, exactly. So she's just dangling like that, like nobody's business. While she was thus suspended, expecting every moment to be dashed to the ground, 4 fairies happened to pass by. Now, Remember, fairies
Was
aren't
on.
always.
Yeah,
But like,
that's sunk in now, only because
That
you've
was-
reiterated
yeah.
that in a few episodes.
because you always get so disheartened when I'm like, it's not the pixie butterfly versions.
Tinkerbell.
Ones. French fairies, as we know, are usually some sort of like witch or enchantress, or Italian fairies, they're a different take again.
Okay.
So they probably, it's thought by some people that they're derived from like what nymphs would have been in like Roman mythology and stuff. So you would have water nymphs and tree nymphs and stuff like that, which means a lot of Italian fairies actually have animal traits.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So they could have paws and tails and like be half cat or monkey and things like this. So I need some voices for the fairies, which I think I can just do. But then there's going to be one bit where because there's 4 of them. Because fairies also, especially in Italian and also in Anglo-Saxon mythology and folklore, often travel in groups. They don't travel singularly.
Is there a reason?
Probably somewhere. I know that a lot of them is the ones, because there's good, there's good and bad fairies.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of the time, I think like the good ones are usually associated with coming out in spring and summer, and the bad ones are usually associated with autumn and winter and going in the darkness and doing dark magic and evil deeds. And some of them are the ones that want to be left alone. I relate to them very strongly. And they usually maybe travel more on their own, casting mischief and things like that.
They're the dark ones.
The dark ones.
The witchy
yeah.
ones.
But you can get good ones that go on their own.
And were fairies different from witches?
Again, it depends on where you're looking. So like in the French ones, for example, and when they were maybe being translated, it could be thought that they were something resembling a witch because it might be just a powerfully magic woman. Okay. In some cultures, it's thought that fairies and witches are different because it's thought that fairies are born with their magic and witches learn their craft. So there's differences in that as well. It just depends where you are.
Yeah, I went to
Witch school?
No, a psychic in Chatham once. But the moment I got there, she went, just so you know, I'm actually not a psychic, I'm a witch. And I said, I didn't actually sign up for that.
That's too far for me. That's mental.
But I had done a bank transfer, so I stayed.
Oh my days.
No, do you know what? Oh my God, do you know what she bought me?
A load of fucking shit.
She bought me a walnut whip. She went, I don't know if you like these, but I think she did know I like them because they're my favourite chocolate.
That's what you'd had as your reference on the bank transfer. She was like, she's put just walnut whip again. That's so bizarre.
She bought me a walnut whip, yeah.
You know what, I've had these because, like, in this industry, the amount of who I thought was smart, and it's always women, smart women.
Okay, your nose is turning up. I'm not sure how this is going.
Because I had 2 people. One of them was a producer, and she's like, let's go and talk this thing through. And we had to go for this coffee thing. And by the way, meetings are weird in this industry because I used to work in corporate world. If you're having a meeting, it was an agenda. There had to be a purpose to it. You had to get something out of it. It was like formal and something was happening. Whereas in this industry, it's like, let's just go for a chat. I'm like, to what end? And they're like, we'll just go for a chat. I'm like, I don't know what that means. Like, what does that mean? How do I dress for this occasion? Like, what is happening? So we went to this coffee shop and like she'd sent me some of the work she'd done and it was a bit weird. And she sat down and we started talking and she was like, yeah, so did you watch my stuff? I was like, yeah, I watched it. Like, it was because it was a thing about witches. I was like, oh, like, why did you choose that? She was like, well, I'm a witch. I was like, yeah, but you're not though, are you, love? You're not.
Oh, I imagine that after that point, did that meeting not go well?
It was just like, what do you mean? She was like, yeah, no, like, I'm a witch. Like, it was based off some of my life. And I was like, listen, here, Sabrina, right? You're not though, are you? And do you know what she said to me? She was like, do you know what, I find that weird because I thought you had a witchy vibe. I was like, how dare you? Don't you, if you're about to say it, you've offended me enough this episode. You can rein that in.
I was about to agree, to be honest.
Absolutely not.
But actually, I think you should probably provide me with her email address because that meeting would go really well for me.
Honestly, the industry we're in.
Yeah, and also we'll just exchange spreadsheets after this.
Yeah, you give me the Bordeaux information and I'll give you these witchy people.
Yeah.
So anyway, right, so these fairies.
Yeah, so sorry, what my point is, I'd quite like one to be from Chatham.
I'll be doing some sort of fairy voice.
Yeah, but from Chatham.
Where is Chatham?
It's my voice.
Right, I'm not doing that. Oh, but I'll tell you what, there's 2.
There's 4. Give one of them a Chatham voice.
All right.
And see how I say Chatham?
Chatham.
Yeah.
All right.
Emphasising it.
There's one where they have to speak one immediately after the other. One of them I'll make.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Look, sisters,
Cried one.
surely that is the old woman that the king sent for. Shall we wish that her clothes may give way and that she should be dashed to the ground?
So these are bad fairies.
I got that.
Just to be clear.
Oh, no, 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 exclaimed another. Let us wish her something good. I myself will wish her youth, and I beauty, and I wisdom, and I a tender heart. That do you?
They're the good ones, though.
Yeah, so they've said, actually, let's give her all this nice stuff.
Yeah.
One of them's really even be like, we should just make her dash to the ground. And he's like, no, let's make her youthful, beautiful, wisdom and have a tender heart. Right?
Yeah.
So spake the fairies and went their way, leaving the most beautiful maiden in the world behind them. Also, I would have said, if they were being that nice, maybe get her down.
Down. Yeah, I was about to say, she's still hanging up there.
Yeah. So they're like, we'll tart her up real nice and make her a lovely person, but we're still going to keep her hanging there.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
The next morning, when the king looked from his window, he saw this lovely creature hanging on the nail.
Bloody hell. Long old night for her.
Oh, what have I done? Surely I must have been blind last night.
He ordered long ladders to be brought and the maiden to be rescued. Then he fell on his knees before her and prayed her to forgive him, and a great feast was made in her honour. I'm going to tell you this right now. If you'd have chucked me out a window and left me to hang by a fucking nail, which is bad enough, but then I'd had magic fairies tart me up real nice, I wouldn't be giving you the time of day.
There is a banquet, though.
There's a suckling pig,
Yeah,
actually.
What I'd say to you, Louise, is try and look at the pluses. Don't look at the positives sometimes. There's a banquet.
Yeah.
Get back inside, love.
So he's ordered long ladders and he's prayed for forgiveness, right? And she's now having a big feast in her honour.
Oh, he has prayed for forgiveness.
Yeah, but I don't really care.
No, but
Some days after came the 90-year-old sister to the palace and asked for the queen. The technically young one, the 80-year-old one, is now beautiful, youthful, wisdom, married to the king.
tender heart.
Tender heart.
Tender hearts.
And her older sister has now rocked up.
Who is that hideous old witch?
Said the king.
Oh, it's an old neighbour of mine. She is half silly.
She replied. But the old woman looked at her steadily and knew her again and said,
How have you managed to grow so young and beautiful? I should like to be young and beautiful too.
So her sister's rocked up. She's pissed.
Yeah.
She's like, how have you swung this?
Pissed as in angry, or is she actually pissed? Because at one point she sounded like she'd actually been knocking back those Bordeaux wines.
I'm going to tell you right now, at that age, I'd be knocking them back noon till
Yeah.
night. I wouldn't
She's
care.
livid.
Yeah.
I think
And
by
you would
that
be.
point you're not like, oh, as long as you're happy. You're like,
No.
how have you got that? And
Yeah.
I'm still spinning.
Especially as you're the older one. This question she repeated the whole day long, till at length the queen lost patience and said to her,
I had my old head cut off, and this new head grew in its place.
I mean, I'm not good at lying, but I would have done better than that.
that is genuinely a spare of the moment.
Yeah.
Literally anything has to come out my face now. Anything.
That head fell off, another one grew. What am I like?
The old woman then went to a barber and spoke to him, saying,
I will give you all you ask if you will only cut off my head so that I may become young and lovely.
This is the end, isn't it? Is this near the
nobody
end?
in this story is smart.
As well.
Oh, well. Like, they're not good.
Also, if you are going anywhere to get your head chopped off, is it the hairdressers or is it, I don't know, surgery?
I mean, yeah, because to be fair, like, they could have probably had a guillotine available at this
Yeah,
time. Like,
she's gone to Fidalsa soon.
When you're doing that perm set, just do me a head, will you? Ta. Thanks.
Sit
so
under
much.
the dryer, no problem.
Right, so she's rocked up at the barber. This guy can be from Yorkshire, fuck it.
But my good woman, if I do that, you will die.
But the old woman would listen to nothing, and at last the barber took out his knife and struck the first blow to her neck. Ah! She shrieked as she felt the pain. Now, I want to emphasise this. I haven't cut out any text. There isn't a page missing. This is genuinely the next sentence. Okay?
The end.
She's gone, ah! As she felt the pain. Il faut souffrir pour être belle, said the barber, who had been to France.
Okay. There's no translation after that.
Oh, we know what it means.
Well, I don't.
Oh, it means it is to suffer to have beauty, or one is to suffer to have beauty.
Well, I haven't got to guess the moral, have I? Because he's said it, albeit in French.
But this is it. There's no other reference to France or anything, and it just goes. This barber said it. He'd been to France, and it's almost like she wanted to shove it in there and just went, how can I do that? Oh, I'll just say this character went to France. You don't have to have a character background. I'll just say this.
Do you know what's
random thing?
I don't mean to be rude to you again, but
here we go.
It's a bit like, as the fairy tales go on throughout the episode, you're like, well, this is in Italy, so, you know, they're going to be Italian and they're going to be this. And then you go, it'll just be from Yorkshire. It's a bit like that. She's like, just from France, that one. Not doing the extra work for that. From France. It's just you could identify with her mindset, is what I'm saying.
And that was you not offending me, was it?
That was me being honest.
Right, okay, good.
Ooh la la, you were saying.
Fuck me. I've been worried this entire series about me offending someone, and then you come out, ooh la la, Christ on a bike. So he said the barber who had been in France.
And she went, Je n'ai pas français, je suis anglais.
At the second blow to her head rolled off, and the old woman was dead for good. And that is the end of the story.
Right. Well, do you know what?
Yeah.
For a change, let's swing this around. Seeing as I am the Red
Since
Bull.
you've got the cockiness of Red Bull today.
The Red Bull is wearing off now. What do you think of that one?
So I thought it was quite classic fairy tale-y, which I liked about it. And I really liked the fact that it was from the Sicilian book. But yes, I thought it was quite random.
But also, again, and I don't know if there's something we don't know about these stories. I just feel like for that ending to mean anything to anyone, give her a bit more of a part throughout the entire story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is her head the one that's chopped off? We don't even know if her and her sister got on. We don't know how long they lived together. We don't know, like, if she hadn't found love because of her hideous looks. And, you know.
We don't actually know that she had hideous looks. All we know is that she was
That's what I
old.
mean.
She might have been an absolute babe.
Yeah, but-
90-year-old babe.
But do you know why we're having this discussion? Because no one told us anything about her. And yet the final pages, and that bird got, I don't know if you can say bird anymore. But that's what it feels like. Old Andrew said he's gone, that bird, chop her head off. That'll be the end of it. It's like, what happened is Andrew went into the Lang's study and went, love, you look tired. Wrap that one up. Come and get yourself some dinner.
Just say something about a woman's head being chopped off because she's idiot.
Chop someone's head off.
Tale as old as time.
Because I think it's about don't suffer for your for beauty.
Is this what you think the moral is?
Well, we haven't taken heed of that, is it? Because there's a lot of people getting stuff injected into their faces. However, that's how I live my life like that.
You don't suffer for beauty.
Well, I mean, I epilated my arse last week, but
I was going to say. Because I get that she's put that phrase in there
yeah.
to potentially be like, that's the moral. But it isn't the moral, because the ones who did suffer for beauty, she hung out of a bedroom window, lied constantly, got all the beauty and looks, and then got to live happily ever after with the king being rich. But then, I get the one who went, oh, I want that, so cut off my head. What she needs is 2 brain cells. It's not oil of ole.
Well, they're rolling around the floor at the moment. But also it really does feel like you said, yeah, that doesn't make sense because the one that did that got everything that she wanted.
Yeah.
However, it does feel like she ran out of time.
Yeah.
The author, not any of the characters. The author, when she went, he's from France and he reckons this. It does feel like she's just gone, call it.
She had a bus to catch or something.
Yeah.
The one that I found was you can be pretty and strong, but nothing prevents us from being kind. And it is our kindness that can help others, not our beauty and youth. So the sister should have been more kind to her 90-year-old sister instead of just going, yeah, you can fix your beauty and youth by chopping your head off like it doesn't matter. You should be kind to others.
That's a stretch. That's not the moral. If I rocked up and we were 80 and I don't know what the age gap is, 81, suddenly like you're 17, you've got straight hair, your lube's run out, who knows?
Fucking hell. And the lube isn't what's making my hair curly.
Just so you know, throughout the entire story, I've just been thinking lube, 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 lube. Anyway.
I'm putting a ban immediately on no Red Bulls before records. Never, ever again.
If I rocked up, right, you're suddenly so much younger.
Well, that's us every day because I am so much younger.
Whatever.
Than you.
I'm not going, bloody hell, you look great, mate. What you been doing? I'm going, huh? She is this, she is that. No, what's happened? Where the hell is Louise? I'm not good at voices, but that's what I'm saying. I think she was startled.
Who was? I've lost track of what the fuck you're on about, to be honest.
He's basically saying she rocked up and was like, that's not very kind to be like, bloody hell, how are you 15 now?
No, not that bit's not kind. It's the
Oh.
bit where
Oh.
the bit where like her sister, instead of taking the time to give her any sort of credence or even let her elder sister live in the palace, she's just gone, oh, I got my head chopped off, go and do that. Like, she hasn't taken time to be kind to her sister.
Oh, I did misinterpret that.
Yeah.
Last one, then. I don't think it's that either, then. I think it's don't tell fibs. I think it's don't tell fibs. It's don't lie. It's not be kind. It's don't lie. Because if you tell a lie, there'll be some dickhead that will go, oh, right, so just chop my head off and get their head chopped off. And also, it might be a blood relative.
But one of them did lie, and then she got everything she ever wanted.
Again, there are holes in this story. and because of that, there are holes in my logic. I need to have a milk or something.
Yeah, for the benefit of us all. Christ on a bike.
Please like and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever it is that you get your podcasts. And follow us on TikTok and Instagram at BeFairyAfraidPod. Thanks for listening.